I never knew I made it high enough to notice I'm getting closer, stronger than I've ever been. I believe that I'm unstoppable. I believe I've only just begun. I will conquer, I will fly, reach my peak, I will.
Welcome to Career Summit 4.0. It's a pleasure for me to be here with you, and especially with Dr. Adeyemi. Dr. Adeyemi is a leader. And I say that because he has a heart for humanity, has a heart for service. We have a leadership school. We call it the Daystar Leadership Academy. And Dr. Ayo happens to be one of our faculty members. So I just want to say, Ayo, thank you so much, for your heart of service and for partnering with us to invest in leaders who are changing their families and organizations and communities and our world. Anyway, the theme of our summit is recalibrate your career. Recalibrate your career. Okay, so for some years now, the discussion has been around the fact that we are in a VUCA world, VUCA, that there's a lot of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity right now. You know what I think? I think the VUCA is now turbocharged. I mean, we've been dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic for 2 years now. And just when we thought we were beginning to, negotiate the bend out of it, Russia strikes and goes to war with Ukraine. So there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of fear. And of course, then there's disruption in the global financial markets. So there's inflation. The war is compounding what we were dealing with respect to the pandemic. We already had supply chain issues, and now the price of crude oil is going up in the international market, and then the price of petrol or gas is going on around the world, right? So I know it's a time when a lot of people are losing their jobs. I mean, think of the 2 million people that have moved out of Ukraine, for example, 2 million plus that have moved out of the Ukraine. Those are careers terminated, okay? Even school children are having their education terminated. And then international organizations are pulling out of Russia in protest. And thousands of people are losing their jobs. Thousands of people are losing their jobs. So it's both a local issue and also a global issue. But what do I want to say to someone here today? First, there is nothing new under the sun, right? If it's about wars, there have been wars before. If it's about inflation, there's been inflation before. There's been economic depression before. If it's about mass migration, there's been mass migration before, okay? But the one thing you need to observe is the fact that if you have people who are still standing, who are still thriving, they have some particular qualities. And I am hoping that in the course of this summit, we will be able to learn some of those strategies, apply them to our lives and to our careers, and that we will come through thriving. Okay, so when I was a teenager, there was something I observed. I've come to realize that my mind recognizes patterns easily. So there was a pattern that I recognized, and it was that there were businesses on my street and the streets near our house that had fizzled out. It bothered me. I also observed that there were people that I knew that were seemingly successful in their careers, and they kind of had fizzled out. I look back at it now and I wonder how I just picked that out, but I picked it out and it bothered me. It was like, I can see something ahead and I need to find out what is causing it. I need to find out what is causing it so that I can avoid it. You know, I could already imagine in my mind that I could be in my maybe 30s and 40s and would have fizzled out already. So I wanted to know what it was. Okay, and I'll tell you that I got answers. I got answers, but let me use an illustration. About 20 years ago, or a little over 20 years ago, I came across a book, Who Moved My Cheese by Dr. Spencer Johnson. The book was a blast. Small book, but it's a timeless book, I should say. In fact, it had such a tremendous effect on me that I took all our staff through the content. Who Moved My Cheese? A story about 4 mice, and you know, mice like cheese, and they found this large, portion of cheese and decided to camp there, and they were eating and enjoying the cheese. But somewhere along the line, two of the mice drew the attention of the others to the fact that the cheese was reducing in quantity. So they could project that somewhere along the line, they were going to run out of cheese. So they felt that they needed to begin to do something so as to avoid the scenario where they would not totally be out of cheese. So the two would move into the maze, travel further, scouting, checking. In some places, they would see small quantities of cheese and so on. Then they would come back and continue. For the other two, it was like, look, why bother? Were we the ones that put this cheese here? We might get there. Somewhere along the line, before we're through with it, some other cheese will show up, They were not willing to put in the effort. These other two would go. They would go further, come back. Go further, come back. And the cheese was reducing in quantity. But before it finished, the two that were exploring moved away and never came back. And somewhere along the line, they stumbled on cheese that was even bigger in quantity than the one they had had before. Amazing story, right? Amazing story. And there are principles there, principles of change. The first one says they keep moving the cheese. Honestly, the first time I read the book, that one hit me like a thunderbolt. They keep moving the cheese. In other words, change will happen. You can't stop change from happening. Change will happen. Human nature, loves stability. We are creatures of habit. Routine, saves us stress. When you don't have to think about something, saves us stress. We have a nature that quickly programs something and reduces into a routine. So with that, we don't have to think deeply about it anymore. We just go, through the routine. So when you introduce the possibility of change, it gives us stress. It bothers us because it's about to disrupt our lives, so to speak. And that's why a lot of people do not prepare for the changes that happen. Interestingly, you know what I observed from the story of the mice and the cheese? Change almost always happens gradually. Almost always. In other words, the signs usually show that things are not the same anymore. But you know what we do? Because we humans have the capacity to adjust, we keep adapting. Adapting to the old as it is changing, instead of exploring. So I just want to say to someone here, as we begin this conference, as we begin this summit, they keep moving the cheese. As you can see now, the rate of change is actually now really, really fast. This is not a time to hold on to anything for too long, or to plan to hold on to anything for too long. I mean, the rate of change is fast. Accept it as a reality and decide that you won't see change as a problem. You will see change as an opportunity. That's it. So, if we're not careful and we don't accept change as a reality of life, we will find ourselves resisting change. See? Yeah. People resist change because change creates instability for us. For some of us, change actually creates a sense of loss of control, right? Just when you thought you had everything together, change comes and makes you realize you don't have everything together. Sometimes it's the threat of loss of influence. Like in an organization, when you're introducing the concept of change, sometimes you experience resistance because people want to fight to keep their tough. Everybody's thinking, how is this going to affect me now? Where am I going to land? Okay? And so on. Sometimes it's just the fact that we will have to be dealing with a new set of problems. Some other times it's the fact that we need to learn new skills to be able to adapt to the new, right? But I'll tell you that the major thing that I think hinders us from accepting and adapting to change is the fact that we do not recognize the benefits of change. We want progress, but without change, there can be no progress. How do you define progress without change? It's not possible. Okay? So, we need to see change as an opportunity and not as a problem. We need to have a mindset. So, some basic qualities that we need, as we move forward. 1, flexibility. We need to be flexible in our thinking. It's so easy for our thinking to be frozen, for our thinking to be fixed, right? So we need to introduce flexibility. We need to learn to look for opportunities instead of looking for problems. The two of them are the same thing. They're just two sides of the same coin. It depends on how you look, depends on how you see. And you know the amazing thing, we don't see things the way they are, we see things the way we are. So if you're the kind of a person that always sees the glass as being half empty, in other words, you focus on the emptiness, you focus on the problems, okay, you focus on the challenges, then it means you're not likely to see miracles even when they come by you. If you're the kind that sees the glass as being half full, it means that you focus on the fullness in life, you focus on the opportunities in life. That's what we need. When you have the mindset of a leader or the mindset of an entrepreneur, that is what makes you different. I tell people, what most people run away from is what the leader or entrepreneur runs towards. Example, war breaks out. Some entrepreneurs run towards that. You know why? Because somebody's got to sell the bullets. Unfortunate as war is, somebody's going to sell the tanks, somebody's going to send the anti-aircraft missiles and anti-tank missiles. Money is being spent. And those hundreds or thousands of soldiers that are mobilized to go fight, they need uniforms. And they need to eat. They need food. I heard of business people that became billionaires just supplying food to soldiers that were fighting a war. We do not pray for war, we do not hope for it. But our world is showing us right now we don't have control over that. It just happens for various reasons. Exactly. So we need to be flexible in our thinking, and we need to learn to look for opportunities, possibilities. Okay? We need to learn to see problems as opportunities. So, as long as human beings are on this planet, they will always have needs. Settle that. Okay? They will always have needs. So the other thing I'll say before I take my leave, is the fact that we need to be ready to acquire new skills. Okay? We've got to be ready to acquire new skills. We have to be open to learning. And that's why I want to commend everyone who has come to be a part of our Career Summit 4.0. Yeah? The fact that you are open to learning shows me that you won't get stranded easily as the changes begin to happen. So when changes happen, people's needs change. People's priorities change. But as long as there are human beings on this planet, there will always be needs. There will always be needs. So, bottom line, your basic capacity for meeting needs is inborn. It is God-given. Never neglect it. Okay? Right now, there's artificial intelligence. Robots are taking over a lot of jobs done by people. That's one of the changes going on in our world right now. Technology. But it's not a time to be afraid. We just need to know there are some kinds of jobs that machines can do, and there are some types of jobs that they can never do. Right? The routinous jobs, those are the ones we give the machines to do. Right? Whatever we can code into a routine, we'll keep delegating those ones, to machines. But the raw creativity that the Creator has given a human being, machines won't have it. We have it. And then we tell them what to do and use them to express it. So tap into that raw creativity. Okay? That's where to go. The amazing thing, that's where you are unique. That's where you have a niche. Okay? That's where you are irreplaceable. Yes. So move your work towards that area where you feel inspiration. Move your work towards that area where what is normal to you is profound to other people. You see, I happen to be wired for information, so most of my work is revolved around that. I love knowledge. That's the way my mind processes complex information, but can distill it into simple steps that I can give to people for them to apply to their lives with results. Fine? So I found out something. An idea occurs to me. It's normal to me. It's natural to me, the way my mind works normally. I post it on social media, for example, or express it somewhere, and it is profound to someone. That's how talent works. That's how a gift works. And that is what I'm talking about. That's the raw creativity that I am talking about. How do you know that you have a special gift for music, for singing, for example? Well, you just love singing. Let's say you're a child. You just love singing and you sing. But someday somebody hears you and says, "What? Sing again. Let me hear you." Oh my God. That voice. Oh my. I'm taking you to a producer. I know someone, that can help you. That's how it works. So it's natural to you. That's why most people neglect it, because it is normal to you. But by the time you put it at the disposal of other people, you serve other people with it, you allow other people to benefit from it, that's where you find the profundity of what you carry. And every single person is talented. And I just wanted to say to us, yes, as we move forward and recalibrate our careers and reinvent, please remember that side too, that you should move your work towards that area where that functions by inspiration. Okay? The interesting thing is that your greatest breakthroughs will come while you are playing, while you are resting, while you are doing what you love to do, what you enjoy to do. Your greatest breakthroughs will not come while you are doing what you need to struggle to do. I wish us an amazing time, an inspiring time, a very insightful time at Career Summit 4.0. Thank you.